Ladies and gentlemen, you have read the title correctly. Today, well, as of me posting this video, not me recording it, I'm actually recording this the day before, but as of November 6th, 2025, Black Ops 3 is officially 10 years old. Let that sink in for a second. 10 years old. Man, I remember going to get this game all the way back when I pre-ordered it. I pre-ordered the Hardened Edition, I remember. I remember going to the GameStop, picking up the game, downloading it, hopping into my first match of Shadows of Evil. Which I'll admit, I didn't really like it at first until I actually learned the map, and then I really enjoyed it. I thought it was good. But my gosh. Man, it, it's just crazy to kind of sit here and, reminisce. The gameplay you're seeing is going to be some zombies of some sort. I haven't really decided which clip I'm going to use yet. I'm just recording the audio at this point, so you'll see some sort of gameplay, maybe Easter egg, just going for a I don't really know. I don't know. But man, what a who of a game. What a who, as some would say. But I really think this game holds a really special place in our hearts as Zombies fans. And I never really made this video for any other game before, which I kind of feel bad a little bit that I didn't make one for some of the older games, you know? Today also marks, maybe not today, I believe it is in a few days, as well. I'm gonna look it up real quick. Yeah, so tomorrow, because I'm filming this on the 5th, the 6th is the 10-year anniversary of Black Ops 3, and this Sunday coming up, the 9th, will be the 15th year anniversary of Black Ops. The first ever Black Ops game, which I will make a video on. So we'll talk about that another day since I didn't make one on the 10 year. But man, this game is 10 years old. It's so crazy to think about that. 10 years ago, we got to experience Shadows of Evil and the Giant for the first time. 10 years ago, excuse me, 10 years ago, we got to experience the multiplayer for the first time. All the specialists, all the guns, everything. And 10 years ago, we got to experience, easily to that point, the worst campaign in Call of Duty history. Yes, I said it. It's crazy to think about that because, 1 and 2 had absolutely phenomenal campaigns. But, 3's was just bad. It had some cool, aspects to it. You could unlock Dead Ops Arcade early with that, before it was added as like a separate game mode. There was like a training site where you'd be in a simulation, you could test out a bunch of guns. Sorry, I just had to get some water there. There was also, what was it? Like the safe house itself was really cool. It was a cool area to kind of explore around, and you know, but I think overall the campaign is truly forgettable for this game, and I think that really goes to say something about Call of Duties. Is this is still considered not only one of the best Call of Duties, but probably the last great Call of Duty. And it was because of the multiplayer and specifically the zombies. The zombies is, I mean, we'll talk about that in a second because we'll talk about the zombies last because I have the most to say about the zombies. Um, but I want to talk about this game real quick, or the multiplayer, I should say. Campaign is just it's forgettable. There's the guy that plays Elliot Stabler in SVU. That was pretty cool to see him in there. I wasn't expecting that at all. It plays Taylor. Uh, there's Kane, the one chick. I really can't like that's how unforgettable and terrible this campaign is. I can't remember anybody at all. I don't remember anybody's name besides two characters. Your player character doesn't have a name because you're just player. And I believe the campaign is like you see it through the eyes of Taylor and a bunch of other. I don't know. It's a weird jumbled mess of incoherencies. Dead Ops Arcade 2, that was really fun. They added the first person pickup. There was a bunch of cool little like other add-ons. Uh, you could be like a RAPS deploy ship. You'd be like a RAPS, I think, not the deploy ship itself, but like the RAPS. I didn't play much of it, but I did play enough to kind of get a general feel for it. It is a very fun mode, I will say. But now, let's get into the one thing that I think a lot of people really did like, even though it had a lot of drawbacks, and that was the multiplayer. The multiplayer was very fun and addictive, I will say. I did play a good amount of it. I think on my PlayStation account, I got to about Prestige 6 or 5, somewhere around there. Um, didn't nearly sink as much time as I did into zombies. But the multiplayer was fun. There were some really good guns in there. I remember the KN-44. If anybody from the beta remembers, it used to be called something else. I can't remember what it was called, but it wasn't the KN-44. It was called something else. Um, maybe I'll look that up here. No, I won't look it up. But if anybody remembers what it was called in the beta, it wasn't called the KN-44. It was called something else. Um, I remember how disappointed we were to get the Razorback because how good that thing was in the beta, and then just kind of like how bad it was in the actual game itself. But man, you had some really good guns like the VMP, the HVK, the ICR. You had a lot of the assault rifles were really good. The Kuda was really good. The Weevil, the Locust sniper rifle, the Dingo, the what was the other one called? Um, I can't remember what the other machine gun was called. Not the Gorgon or the Dredge. There was the other one. I can't remember at the moment. But then, you had something that we never had in COD before, the Specialist and their abilities. You had Nomad with his gravity slams and his speed boost, and you had Outrider, Outrider, Prophet, uh, Firebreak, Reaper, Spectre, Nomad. I can't remember what the one chick's name is with the bionicle arm. Drawn Seraph, I think her name was Seraph, and then who's the other one? The bomb lady. Fuck, I can't remember her name at the moment. I'll probably throw it up on screen if I ever get to it. Um, God, it's really gonna chat my ass that I can't fucking figure her name out again. Okay, well, and then you even had the black market guy that came in later that you could, get with daily orders. You get a token. You could play as him, and he had his own like. Oh, either he'd get a random like side ability, or he would get whoever you killed its weapon. There was a weapon and a side ability. The side ability would do something. Like Seraph would have the combat readiness, combat focus it was called, and then you could like earn extra points per kills, and all that stuff. And Prophet had his glitch where you could like go backwards, and I don't know, man. It just really felt like the jetpacks were good. They were fluid movement, and you still really felt like you could play that game boots on the ground. It was a really nice mix of both, which I really enjoyed. And I think that's one of the legacies of this multiplayer holds. It also holds another legacy, which is supply drops. Now, I know that Infinite Warfare, Advanced Warfare had them as well. Um, but the ones in Black Ops 3 were bad. First of all, they could give you duplicates, I'm pretty sure. Which I'm pretty sure the Advanced Warfare ones could too. That wasn't necessarily the problem. The problem was that whenever you like they would give out guns and you would never unlock these things in the supply drop thing. And the only time you ever got one was the guaranteed one. It would be like it was like get a certain amount of kills or something, and then you could unlock. It would give you either a weapon. It would give you a weapon for free, a guaranteed weapon. But the problem was there were so many melee weapons in the game. Sometimes it would give you that, and that really sucked. But the ones that I've used that I remember are the FFAR. That was really good. The HG40 was good. I had a few of the melees as well. Now being able to use boy, been able to use a lot of them, and it's been really cool because I didn't get the peacekeeper back in the day. I didn't get the nail gun back in the day, So it was really cool to go back and use some of those because a lot of those weren't even in zombies either. The brecci with the modded controller where you could just spam the shoot button, how fucking broken that gun was. Like the multiplayer was really fun. Uh, Good kill streaks, fun map, really good maps, honestly. Some really nice ones. And I think an overall game that was truly one of the better multiplayers, probably the best multiplayer out of the Jetpack era. And I would probably say it's that, Advanced Warfare, then Infinite Warfare. I really don't like Infinite Warfare's multiplayer. Even though it does have some good things in it, it's just not that enjoyable. But now, it is time to talk about the holy grail of this game. It's the gameplay you've probably been seeing, because I'm not going to post any multiplayer gameplay. It's going to be just zombies. And it's zombies, like I just said. I mean, what is there more to say about this mode? Instantly a classic. You have so many great maps in this game. Shadows of Evil, Der Eisendrache, even Zetsubo to an extent after it got fixed, not so much at the launch. Uh, Grod Krovi, and even Revelations. Even though Revelations again was kind of a disappointment, but it is what we asked for. We did kind of want that collage of everything. And then the creme de la creme, during I think it was DLC 2 of Infinite Warfare after uh Shaolin Shuffle came out. You get Zombie Chronicles, remastered maps. You get all the World at War maps, Noct, Shinonuma, Verrucht, not Derice because you had the giant. So that was already like a remaster, which came with the game, which was cool, but like I kind of expected a little more out of it. I feel like the giant was a little bit of a letdown. Derice Declassified, which we will get to in a second for the custom maps, I think would have been a better the giant. But you got Noct, Verrucht, Shino. You already had Derice. Um, then you got Kino, Ascension, Shangri-La, Moon. And Moon. Oh my God, they did like if there was a map that got a facelift in this game, it was Moon. Moon looks so much better than it used to look. It plays a lot better than it used to too. With the gravity and shit. Even though I feel like the box look is a little bit worse on it, but you had Gobblegums to offset that, which we will talk about in a second. Uh, and then you had Origins, which Origins really did feel like a map that could have been made on this game. Obviously on Black Ops 2, but it feels like a map that could have been on that game. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy how detailed and how well made Zombie Chronicles 2 or Zombie Chronicles 1 was. There wasn't a 2. And then at the end with PC, we get custom maps, and look at all the custom maps that have come out. You know, Ve Victus. I already said Dries Declassified. Water Park Zombies. I played one that was like supposed to be Night of the Dead, like remake the house. It was really cool. And then not only that, but the community has remade the maps that Treyarch didn't remake into BO3, making it so if you don't want to buy other Call of Duties to play those experiences, you can play them within the map or within that game, and they're free. You don't have to pay for them. Five, Mob of the Dead, Call of the Dead, Transit's getting remade, Die Rise got remade. Pretty sure Barry's getting remade. You know, and just all like the cool like mods that came out, the free gobblegums. Obviously, the boy client is what I'm playing on right now, coming out, and being able to just play the game with gobblegums and still be able to rank up too, which is really cool. I mean, you are talking about a game that truly made Call of Duty Zombies the peak. This was the peak of COD Zombies from 2015, November 6th of 2015 to about 27. I'm actually gonna look up what Zombie Chronicles release date. May 16th, 2017. So from November 6th of 2015 to May 16th of 2017, that was the peak of zombies. I mean, you could say it's a little bit more because like Mace, it did, once Chronicles came out, it lasted longer. But in general, speaking in generalities, it you can't beat something like that. Black Ops 3 is the ultimate experience. It gives you so much content. The zombies were good. It still was like predictable, even though they were a little faster and they'd swipe harder. But you had the shield, the specialist weapons, the wonder weapons were incredible. I mean, the Apothicon Servant is easily still the best wonder weapon of all time. It does nothing comes close to its killing potential. You had the bows, all the bows, just like all the staffs, which are also in the game because of the remaster. You have the KT4 with the Masamune, like you have the ray gun Mark threes, and then you get the Thunder Gun back in Revelations, which is easily the easiest round 100 of all time. But then you get remasters of other Wonder weapons. You know, the Wonder Waff coming back and Die Rise, fucking Derice, and all of the Zombie Chronicles maps that it was in. The Thunder Gun coming back in Revelations and coming back into Ascension and Kino. You know, you had the baby gun come back from Shangri-La, the wave gun from Moon, the Gersh devices, the QEADs, the staffs, the fucking the little grenades that you throw, the G-Strike grenades and Origins. Like there was just so much content. And like I said, on top of that, custom zombies, all the custom zombie weapons that have been made, all the the scavenger coming back and Call of the Dead because Treyarch never made it, but we did as a community, and it really makes like this is why Call of Duty Black Ops 3 is still the most played Call of Duty, even 10 years after its life cycle. Obviously, not most played throughout the franchise, but most played throughout the older Call of Duties, I would say. Like this is still the most popular because of the modding scene. It was really cool that Jason Blundell and Treyarch really gave us that opportunity to kind of just flex our creative muscles and, make stuff that's really good, and uh, makes sense, not makes sense, but gives us the tools to create things that we want to play. Because, some of the older fans might not like the newer stuff, because it doesn't speak to them. And even then, there are mods for people who want to play the older maps but want to use the newer mechanics. You can play with Cold War mechanics. There's a mod for that. You know? it's great, man. It's so much fun. You know, mods for solo Easter eggs. You know, I mean, how can you possibly beat that? The only thing that I will say about this game, Zombies, that really sucked is after Widow's Wine, which was a really nice perk, they didn't add another perk after that, which was a little upsetting because we didn't really get a new perk throughout that whole game besides Widow's Wine, even though Widow's Wine is probably one of the best perks ever. Just gonna say that. So, again, the verdict 10 years later. Where would I rank this Call of Duty in a tier list from S all the way to F? I don't think it's an S tier. I think if we're just talking zombies, easily the best experience, that's an S tier. Multiplayer, I would say, is probably an A or a B, but the campaign is an F. The campaign is so fucking bad, and it really does drag this game down a lot. So, in fairness, I'm gonna put it in the A tier. That's where I would put it. I think if the campaign was even slightly better, this would be an S tier COD. But I think just because of the campaign, it is slightly lower. If I had to give it a number rating out of 10, um, if I had to give it a number rating out of 10, I would probably give it a 9. I'd give it a 9. I think it's easily one of the greatest Call of Duties I've ever played. And it really sucks that this game is 10 years old, man. That makes me feel old as shit. I was 15 when that game came out. I am now 25. Crazy how time flies like that, you know? Um, but that's enough for me. I want to hear your guys' story in the comments, you know? Talk about some memories from this game. You know, what do you remember with your friends? Either multiplayer or zombies? Hell, campaign for all I give a fuck. Because there was a co-op campaign. You could play co-op. I forgot to say that. That was pretty cool. Even though the campaign sucked, it was co-op, which was awesome. In realism mode, that was something too. Um, but like I said, I think overall, I think it is easily gonna stand as still as one of the best Call of Duties to ever be made, even with as its bad campaign, even with all the problems this game had with supply drops. It is still arguably one of the best and greatest Call of Duties ever made. And I think that's where I'm gonna end it off. So, happy 10th birthday, 10th anniversary to Call of Duty Black Ops 3's launch. And the next year coming out, we're gonna see the 10th year anniversary of Horizon Drac, Zetsubo, Garad, Revelations, and then eventually the year after that, we will see the 10th year anniversary of Zombie Chronicles. And I think a little after that, we'll see the one for Custom Zombies as well. I can't remember when Custom Zombies dropped on PC, but it's it's crazy to reminisce. It's crazy to go back and to remember the times that we had with that game and all the memories and what it meant to us as COD gamers. So we yearn for those times again. I can say that with COD. As somebody who got to play a lot of these older games and had the privilege to play some of these older games from COD 4 all the way up, there was really something special with a lot of the games that we used to have. And I guess I'll just leave it there. Okay, so uh, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked, hit the like button. If you disliked, hit the dislike button. I don't give a shit. Comment, tell me I'm an idiot. Do do what you want, man. I don't give a fuck. Um, subscribe if you're new. If you want to. No biggie, no rush. And in my next video, guys, we're gonna talk about a few other things. This has been Mayhem, celebrating the 10th year anniversary of Call of Duty Black Ops 3, and signing out. Peace.